Our segments with Craig last week was talking about unwritten rules in baseball. I had this last week. We didn't get a chance to get to it, but a completely normal, totally reasonable unwritten rules of baseball, which is kind of something we'll get into. And Mitch Thompson, speaking of which, head coach at McLennan College, McLennan Community College, joins us on SicEm365 Radio. Man, you just kind of like that place out in Colorado, huh?
Oh man, Colorado's great. Let's go up there every year. That's the idea.
Have you ever had a team that was this red hot enter the tournament the way they are?
Oh, I think so. I don't know. I haven't looked back exactly. I know that in 2015, we finished fourth in our conference and second in the country. So, we kind of had to fight to get into the region tournament. We did, and then just kind of went on a roll. This winning streak's pretty hot, and we're obviously playing well, so we want to continue that way of thinking and that way of playing.
What do you personally, as a coach, from the times you've been out there, bank on how you have to? Because these kids haven't been there. It's not like you have 4-year guys or 5-year guys. This is their first time. What do you bank from the last time you went there that you relayed to the team as they make their first trip?
Oh, I think we just got to try and get them out there as quickly as we can. That's why we are leaving tomorrow. We're going to leave, on Tuesday morning at 8:00, and we'll roll into Grand Junction sometime Wednesday afternoon, hopefully, and have a few days, Thursday and Friday, to kind of acclimate and see the facility and go get a couple practices in and kind of just come back down to earth about where we're at and what we're going to do before we open up the tournament at 9:00 on Saturday morning.
Coach, go ahead.
Oh, no. And so I think the biggest thing is just to kind of get them out there and get them acclimated to everything. This is where it's going to be. This is how it's going to work, and talk to them about, the teams that can get back to being themselves the fastest again will perform better. No question.
I don't know why this popped into my head, but being in Colorado, do you have to account for altitude sickness or take that into consideration at all?
There's no question that the altitude does affect some kids differently. There'll be some guys that'll have a little lightheadedness, early when we get there. And so, getting there and spending 48 hours, something like that before time is just the smartest thing to do. And I'm thankful that our school understands that and wants to make that happen for us.
So take us through the Super Regional against Cisco. You outscored them 22-4. Pretty good weekend for your guys. What did you see? Obviously, good hitting, good pitching.
Well, we did. We got after them. We came out of the chute, and Logan Henderson gave us another really good outing on the mound, and we scored enough to run rule them and get them out of the first game, and then Brady Rose was great in game 2. I like the way we pitched. I like the way we played defense. I like the way we swung the bats. We hit a lot of balls hard. My goodness. The biggest fear in the second game was just that we were going to have to, end up postponing the end of the game, suspending the game, and then have to maybe find another facility to go take it to because we, couldn't get on our field because of weather. So I was thankful that we got our tarp on in time, and thankful that we could get it done and get the ball game finished before dark. We needed that to happen.
Mitch, even though the players on this team were not a part of 17 or any of the other previous trips to the national tournament, how much does that matter? At least the resume or the tradition, and other schools that are there, other programs have some tradition with that as well. Does that count for anything at all?
Oh, I don't think there's any question. I think that when as you go year to year, whatever, it becomes just part of the thought process. Yeah, we're going to Grand Junction. Well, yeah, duh, type thing. This is what we do at this time of year is to compete for the right to do that. And so, while it is special, there's no question, but I don't think that our guys are overwhelmed by it. I don't think that our guys are like, oh my gosh, now we're going to Grand Junction and we're going to have to play so much better than what we've played. I think they realize that, hey, we've earned the right to be there. We're a quality club, and now we get to go compete against these other quality clubs and see who's the best and try and win a national championship. So, when expectations are high and you set that tone from the very beginning, and you keep selling that vision and selling that vision and selling the vision, and the kids start to buy into, hey, yeah, look at what's happening to us on the field. then it kind of all comes together, and I'm proud of these guys for doing that.
What's it done for your recruiting to have been there now a couple times?
Well, I think that, anybody in the state of Texas is looking to go to junior college baseball, that we're obviously at the top of their list. We're a possibility. We've got really good facilities. We're in a great town. We've got a beautiful campus. There's a whole bunch of things that we have going for us, but the ability to win, the ability to develop players, the ability to get players to the next place, whether it be the Major League Baseball draft or NCAA Division I, and go high level Division I. There's a lot of schools that really struggle to get guys at the high level, at the SEC Big 12 level of play, and we've been fortunate to attract a bunch of kids like that. So every year the success kind of breeds the success. There's no question about it.
All right, Mitch. So double elimination. That can just absolutely crush a pitching staff as far as if you have to get into that loser's bracket early. And yet again, it gives you a chance because of one and done. It's not like you're done. What are some of the, as a coach, what are some of the positives and negatives of double elimination?
Well, it does give you a hiccup. There's no question. You get one, you don't get two. You get one mulligan. But the key is just to save those losses as long as you can, right? You go through your pitching staff and hopefully. And I love where we're at in the bracket. They put us at the top of the bracket. We're the number 4 seed, and we're playing the 7th seed Florence Darlington Tech program. And, we played them in 2017. I got great respect for their program and what they do. But if we're fortunate enough to win that first game on Saturday, we'll get a day off before we play again on Monday, which would be fantastic. That helps your bullpen rebound. It just replenishes your bullpen immediately. And so then you go with another starting pitcher. And if we can be fortunate enough to win that game, we get another day off. So here we go again. And now you're into day 4 or 5 of the tournament, and, your bullpen's in pretty good shape, and you're working on getting your first starting pitcher coming back here pretty soon. And all of a sudden it starts to look, wow, this is doable. Now there's, 5 or 6 teams left, and here we go. So, the first 2 ball games will be key, no question. But we're 5 or 6 games away from winning a national championship, so we're just going to try and check them off one at a time and keep making that move.
Mitch, is it easier for the guy, because sometimes you wind up playing games at 10:30 local time out there, but it's easier for the kids. Do you get a little? It's past my bedtime. Here, let's go.
Well, the hardest part about it is the first day. There's 4 games being played on that field, and if a game goes long, then, oh my gosh, it turns into a nightmare scenario if you're the last game of the day. Or 2 games go long, all of a sudden, you have a rain delay mixed in there or something. It can turn it into a bad situation. So I'm excited that we're the 9 a.m. game. It'll be 9 a.m. Colorado time. It'll be 10 a.m. our time. We played at 10 a.m. here last week. We get them up in the mornings to do work, throughout the year. So I'm not worried about us being ready to go early in the morning. And I'm excited that we know that our game will go off on time. And then hopefully if we can win that first one, then we can sit back and watch the rest of them battle it out for a day or so, and then get ready to do it again.
What is your most important unwritten rule of baseball?
I don't know. I think anything for me that when you say, for me, any rule of baseball is respect your opponent, respect the game. And what I'm saying about that is you better stay humble. You better not be pounding your chest too bad. The game will humble you really fast. And, there's some of that now. I think that leads to some of the fights that you see. It leads to the hard feelings that you see. Anytime, the opponent feels like he's being disrespected, it's a bad deal. So, we try and tell our guys, hey, keep your mouth shut. You talk to our players. We don't talk crap to the other guys. Just talk to our guys, play the game on the field, win the game on the field, and then walk off like you knew you were prepared to win. That's for me probably one of the biggest things. I don't know if it's an unwritten rule or not, but that's what I would say. Let's respect the game and respect the opponent, and know that if you get too far in front of yourself, you're fixing to get humbled.
Hey, go ahead.
Yeah, Mitch, we had David Murphy on earlier and asked him about you, and he talked about how, you really helped him become a better hitter when he was there. Do you have a good David Murphy story about when you recruited him or, watching him grow into the major league player that he became?
Yeah, I'd be glad to. Murph, when we did recruit him, I remember we were on him hard, and I saw him play a bunch, and he knew we seen him play a bunch, and when he committed to me, I remember calling Coach Smith and go, "We just got the best left-handed hitter in the state of Texas." And if he probably wasn't considered that by the rankings or something like that, the 5-star ranking or whatever you might talk about, or whoever was ranking players at that time, they may not have had him as the best one, but I thought he was the best one. And I was really excited to get his commitment, and we beat all the big boys for him. And Murph, I'll never forget it. When we did recruit him, we brought him in on an official visit, and we were playing the University of Texas in football. And back in those days, that probably wasn't real smart to bring a kid on an official visit. And I was sitting by his dad there at the football game, and it was 48-0 Texas at halftime, I think was the score. I mean, it was brutal, right? And I looked over and I said, "The good news is I'm not asking David to wear a gold helmet." And he said, "Boy." But and it's been fun to see, Baylor football and all the sports just continue to do great, and to do good things here in the last 5, 10, 15 years, whatever. But back in that time, it was a tough period in Baylor football, and for David to believe in us, to come play for us, and then to develop, fight through a double, breaking his hamate bone as a sophomore and becoming a first-round draft pick as a junior was really fun.
Well, he said, for what it's worth, Coach, that he didn't have a story off the top of his head, but that what he did remember was you always talking about get your work in, because you only had the limited amount of time and getting guys in cages. And so that was a takeaway that he had of you, was you always just kind of harping on getting your work in while you had the opportunity to do so. So just sharing that with you.
That's always fun to hear. It's always fun to hear that they remember what you were telling them. And it's one of those things that makes you feel good as a coach, is when you see those guys have such great success and such great careers and become such great men. And wow, Murph's a home run on and off the field, and great dad, and one of the best of all time. So I'm sure glad he thinks good things of me. It beats the heck out of talking bad about me, doesn't it?
Yeah, no, he said it made a big impact on his career.
He did.
Knowing how to work and learn how to work and get your swings in and all that. So yeah, it definitely made a difference for him. So just wanted to share that with you.
You don't get to that level without paying a price. You've got to get in there and really be committed, and you got to put in the work. And so that's awesome.
Thank you very much, Mitch. Good luck. Enjoy. Yeah, and
I sure appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Take over Grand Junction, Colorado. Last time they were there in 2017.
Be the first national title, the only other national title, if they could go and win it, since 1983. So it's been a while for sure.
Was that Jay Buhner?
Well, and they claimed it after the fact too, I do believe. If I read that at one point correctly, that they I want to say after the fact they claimed that, or unless I'm thinking of a completely different story. But yeah, that is what they mark as their national title in baseball.
Graduated from high school in 82, played baseball at McLennan Community College. Freshman year in 83, they made their 4th consecutive trip to the World Series and won their only national title. Yep, that wouldn't